es gacho, es feo, es horrible. Pero con otro hombre, Santa María, Madre de Dios, qué asco. Asco. ¿Qué piensa usted? ¿Qué le decimos? ¿Qué haría usted como mujer y usted como hombre qué haría? Porque esto pasa también con los hombres.
¿Hacen las mejores familias?
Hay mujeres que...
703-340-7344. Ayudémosle a este matrimonio de 15 años, dicen, ¿verdad? Wow.
15 años de tu vida.
Pero también
a la basura.
Es una burla como para la mujer, ¿no? Eso quiere decir que la mujer va a decir, o sea, este tipo nunca le llené entonces. Exacto, como mujer.
Exacto. Todo el tiempo, no.
La mantuvo.
Yo que esta señora, o sea, yo no les puedo contestar, decirles eso, pero se lo voy a decir al aire. Yo pienso que es una pregunta que ni se debe de hacer.
No, pero déjelo que le dé otra oportunidad.
¿Oportunidad de qué, señor? No sea sinvergüenza. ¿Oportunidad de qué?
Que lo enfrente y que le diga qué vas a hacer. ¿Te quieres salir del closet o qué onda?
No, yo no le digo. Es más, yo lo enfrento con... ¿Y sabes qué? Por un poquito de respeto a sus papás, yo creo que es difícil decirle a los papás, tal vez señores, de esos señores que son bien conservadores.
Mira, de esos que hablan así.
Bien conservadores, y entonces es difícil. ¿Qué opina usted de esto? ¿Qué haría usted en una situación así? ¿Lo enfrenta? ¿Lo corre de la casa? Son 2 hijos, 15 años de tu vida. No es fácil, señores. No es fácil dejar una relación de tantos años.
O le permite que haya el otro hombre a vivir ahí, seguramente.
Oigan, este sinvergüenza.
No, digo que la mujer puede.
Santo.
Desde luego que está preguntando. ¿Será que le
Ella no ha preguntado eso, señor, no sea bárbaro usted también.
No,
ella
señora,
está preguntando qué hace, si le dice a los papás, si lo enfrenta, si lo saca de la casa, ¿qué hace?
Ya va a venir el hombre, ay no mamá, le va a decir, no lo hagas.
Opine si quiere.
703-340-7344 es el número que debe marcar para que le ayude a este individuo que parece ser que se había salido del closet hace mucho tiempo. Mucho tiempo.
Y te voy a decir una cosa, hay personas que pasan así toda la vida siendo infelices.
Sí.
Porque
por darle gusto a los padres.
Exactamente. Buenas tardes.
Sí, buenas tardes.
Escuchamos.
Para mí, que hable con él y lo deje. ¿Qué tienen que ver los padres de él al problema que él tiene? Mejor que hable con él o lo saque. Porque si ella no lo saca, le está permitiendo estar viviendo con él y, como tú dices, fuera con otra mujer, está bien que le pongan los cuernos, pero con
otro.
Fuera
con una mujer.
Si fuera con una mujer, sí, dice.
No seas sinvergüenza ni con una mujer ni con un hombre.
Mira, ¿tú crees que el perro que tienes en la casa de vez en cuando no es echar tu
No, él es un santito.
Bueno, pues Carlita, bendiciones.
El perro que tienes en tu casa.
Vamos, no, hombre.
Qué barbaridad. Buenas tardes.
¿Cómo estamos?
¿Cómo andamos? ¿Qué piensas?
Que lo enfrente, que lo vote, pues no se vale. Pues si hubiera sido con otra mujer, pues está bien.
Es que perro con perro siempre se quieren tapar.
O sea, otra mujer es permitido.
Adi, tú perteneces a los burgueses, quitaste esa venda de los ojos.
Ey, ¿por qué tienen que ser así los hombres? Ese machismo de que si es con otra mujer, sí que lo perdone.
No,
bárbaro.
Pero me da risa que te digo, el perro. Ya parece que escucho aquel.
El perro que tienes en tu casa, dice. Si supiera.
Ay, no, este se pasó de que.
Antes de hablar de mi esposo, límpiese la boca, por favor.
Señores, siga opinando usted. 703-340-7344. 703-340-7344. A ver.
No sean
qué bárbaros. Qué bárbaros.
No sean sinvergüenzas, señores. Vamos a regresar con más de sus opiniones. 703-340-7344.
Estamos como nunca yo, mi hermano.
Is there a moment when that changes, or is that just the cult for our future together? No, it has. I always wondered why who we found would do anything for Trump.
Kuno zinare to am kuno zinaran am do salam asman deso am do salam akidi liya satan iyo gizo Totica Le soir, couleur tropicale.
Pire, les raisons que nous avons de nous rêver.
Des narrations concernées. Couleur tropicale.
On est là pour capter mon attention.
Couleur tropicale avec Claudicia.
Et Mathieu Salvador, Annabelle Joganondi, Léa Pereira, Zolito, Bonheur de la famille. Demain, ne manquez pas la spéciale de Dolores. Preparados.
El ruido, ¿qué papel juega todo esto? ¿Hasta qué punto es importante que la navegación sea más silenciosa?
Es una parte de dos ruidos, el ruido interior, el ruido en la zona de pasajeros.
Va a solucionar
Hablando al mundo, me parece que esa imagen, como es la primera vez que se da, creo que impactó a muchas personas ese hecho de que, como ha sido en la historia de la humanidad, ¿no? Lo del poder temporal se ponía de rodillas también delante de Dios, porque pues Dios es el dador de todo, el creador de todo y es el señor de todo.
Française, pleine de congolité et de caribéanité.
¿Qué representa el pastor?
Two caps 3 times a day and add our mag scorbate at 1 capsule twice a day. My lower back spinal rehab videos are Fireside Chats number 7 and 9 at the Dr. William Wong's Essentials of Life and Wellness channel on YouTube. Be well and God bless. Dr. Wong. And the next question reads, hello again. I'm curious, do you use Carbon 60? I'm thinking of buying the Carbon 60 powder and making my own, as it's an investment to buy it ready-made. Any shares, please? And my answer is howdy. We had a debate amongst the docs and others in our email group a year or so ago. One electrical engineer and computer guy pointed out that the stuff vibrates under 5G service. The vibration gets so extreme close to the 5G repeaters on towers and street lamps that it could cause harm to cells and tissue. I pointed out that it does not metabolize and never leaves the body. Another doc told me that it tested badly, or rather other docs, plural, have told me that it tested badly under Vol, AK, and radionic testing. I personally can't stand taking the stuff, but the highest rated product I find made me retch each time I took it. Finally, I had to listen to my body and not take it at all. One other of our docs also reported getting sick each time he took it. When Cliff High started taking it, he got stomach cancer, but he's still a believer and he's still taking it. So I would advise no on the Carbon 60. Be well and God bless. Dr. Wong. And the next one, Dr. Wong, do any of your products heal a very sore sunburnt lower lip? It's like blisters that need to dry out and not so easy on my lip on the inside. I have a lifetime of natural healing recipes, yet this one is a new one to create. I use aloe vera, grass-fed to lubricate, and clean and rinse constantly. Thank you. And my answer is howdy. Simple old zinc oxide ointment. It's edible, so you can apply it to the inside of your lips without worry. It's drying, and most of the time, it's giving epithelial tissue what they need to heal directly. Zinc. Be well and God bless. Dr. Wong. My mentor in naturopathic and sports medicine, Dr. Charles W. Turner, used to use zinc oxide ointment on a number of things. He would apply bee pollen poultices to injuries, before and after which he would apply zinc oxide ointment to the top of the skin where he put the poultice to sink the zinc in and speed the healing. On torn or damaged skin, you can use a zinc oxide ointment along with any antibiotic ointment or any anti-infective ointments, creams, or liquids that you're using to help promote healing. Because, again, all epithelial tissue is based on zinc, the way bone is based in calcium. And the next question reads, Dear Dr. Wong, do you have a program for treating gastric and pig ulcers? And my answer is howdy. Actually, I don't have a program for such. 40 years ago, when an ex gave me a peptic ulcer, my idea of treating it was switching from black Russians to white Russians. The milk actually helped. These days, I'd tell folks to drink a glass of aloe vera juice a couple times a day, increase their intake of zinc to help heal the stomach and intestinal lining, which is epithelial. I'd advise them to take Equanimity at 2 capsules 3 times a day to reduce their nervous stress. Don't eat a lot of beans or leafy greens, as these produce a ton of gas and distension. Lastly, do take a proton pump inhibitor for a few weeks. Rabeprazole is my preferred, once a day to cut back on the erosive acid. Ulcers, when treated, typically heal in 6 to 8 weeks. Be well and God bless. Dr. Wong. Okay, folks, here's where all you natural people, you super purists, are jumping up and down, telling me that the proton pump inhibitors will keep you from absorbing calcium and cause weak bones and do all the other stuff. Not if you just take it for, say, 8 weeks. And the rest of you will tell me that, but don't you know that 40% of people don't have stomach acid, they have excess alkaline? Yes, it's true. Or at least we thought it was true. But why are those self-same people, again, healing their ulcers by taking the proton pump inhibitors? There is nothing in natural medicine that can do the work that the proton pump inhibitors do. Yes, and there's lots of talk of, we can take sodium bicarb, we can take baking soda, and we can do exactly what the proton pump inhibitors do. No, the baking soda is needed by the body, but it's only neutralizing the acid, and that only works for about 20 minutes. And then you're going to get a rebound. The body's going to make even more acid to make up for the stuff that you neutralized. You're just going to go back and forth. Are you going to take a dose of baking soda every 20 minutes? The sodium in that will probably boost your blood pressure up a good bit. Doing the acid-alkaline balance crap that never worked even 100 frickin' years ago when they invented the damn thing only makes you more acidic. I find it absolutely odd that folks can drink a ton of alkaline water and their stomach reacts by producing acid, and they can drink a Coca-Cola, which is 2.2 pH, and neutralize their stomach acid. I don't get it, but that's the way the body works. So I'll accept it, work with it, and carry on from there. And actually, instead of Coke, I much prefer RC, because Coke woke. And I hope Coke goes broke being woke. And yes, I also realize that eating an acid to produce an alkaline effect is a kind of application of the acid-alkaline theory that I always rag on. But in this case, that acid-alkaline rebound actually works. Now, one of the things that I haven't mentioned in a very long time, if you want to settle your stomach, especially pregnant gals who need to settle their stomachs, because you're about to barf all over the place, usually a teaspoon or 2 of Angostura aromatic bitters in a small glass of cola works really well to settle the stomach. You can also use the bitters in a small glass of ginger ale. And crushed ice usually helps also because it gives you something to suck on. And in some folks, sucking on those nice cold ice cubes also helps to settle the stomach. And the next question reads, Dear Dr. Wong, just got out of CA hospital a few days ago for passing kidney stones. The pain was so acute, I actually thought I had ruptured an appendix and was convinced I was going to die. Somehow managed to wobble into the UCLA ER, and they gently got me onto a gurney before injecting me with morphine and shoving a tube up in me for a scan. The stones found weren't large enough to warrant disaggregation, but they were plenty big enough to give me a renewed regard for women who braved the pangs of childbirth. A friend of mine said she read somewhere that you can form stones by taking as little as 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C for just 6 days. I've been taking as much as 4,000 milligrams of C in time-release form for months. Are there supplements that can promote renal health, particularly in the tubules? And the answer is howdy again. Sorry to hear about the kidney stones. About 25 years ago, I had ultrasound done on my abdomen. And when the tech passed over the kidneys, I asked him to hold there so he could take a look. Under the ultrasound,
In the beginning of the second run, that's what I call phase 2 or run 2 or group 2 or whatever. So I probably will call them to see when they think group 2 is going to be built and when they think they're going to be shipped. Reading this email, it seems to me that that's not going to happen until August maybe, if I'm lucky. So I don't know. I should probably call them next week and see if I can get a clear answer as to what they're thinking. What else can I say about it? I think it's been so long now. I think I ordered mine also with an external control knob, tuning knob, I think. But when I get that, I mean, I have 3 monitors here as well. I'm waiting on the 3rd monitor. I have mine vertically stacked. I really can't stack them horizontally because then I block all my windows. But the middle one of the stack is going to be the Elcraft HDMI output, and I'll run a logger or not logger, but the Mac logging program and or the RTTY program on the bottom monitor, as well as the top monitor for logging. And I'll probably have to lay out my bench here because I'm getting it's being populated by a whole bunch of radios horizontally, and since I got this NRD 535 receiver for Uncle's inventory up in Maine, my radios are spreading out too much horizontally. So when eventually I do get the Elcraft, I'm going to have to rethink how I lay this place out. I didn't send you a picture of the NRD 535 receiver, which I got, which is amazingly looks like it just came out of the factory, and it works pretty cool. Pretty cool all band receiver. Unfortunately, there's not much on the shortwave to listen to if you want to listen to broadcasts anyway, unless you want to listen to the Chinese or listening to Bible broadcasts. All the stuff we knew as kids pretty much gone, although Romania still has a pretty sizable broadcast operation from north of Bucharest, and a lot of the other stations come out of WRMI. The broadcaster down, I think that's Florida, and they buy time on that. That's why they're 20, or on the Rombic here, they're like 40 over 9 coming in here. But there's little BBC, but all the other cool stuff that came out of their native countries are pretty much gone by the wayside. It's kind of fascinating to see that for years and years and years we pushed a lot of programming to Eastern Europe and to China over the Voice of America and BBC, pushing east. And now those pretty much are gone, and the Chinese are pushing back. The Chinese almost dominate every shortwave frequency band, or not just one, but 2 or 3 signals simultaneously. So they have a pretty huge shortwave operation. It seems to me, at least by listening to them on the band anyway. I also wanted to see how you're feeling and how the allergies are working out. You sound pretty good today. So I wonder how you're feeling with all of that. K4H and W2DGU.
W2DGU or K4HMB. Is the Chinese stuff in English or Chinese?
No, it's in English. It's amazing. If you look at that program that I sent you, that's a link to that shortwave guide program, which is really, I think, one of the best shortwave programs I've seen so far for seeing, what's broadcasting to your area based on your IP address. If you look at that schedule, you'll be absolutely blown away by the amount of Chinese that's broadcast in English. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure about that. But yeah, definitely the landscape has changed considerably from when I used to listen to a lot of shortwave, which was a long time ago. Yeah, I'm doing okay with the allergy thing. I mean, I don't feel bad. I never have felt bad. It's just that I have this sinus drainage in this cough, and it just sometimes gets worse and sometimes it gets better. And I was out today. I finally finished all the trimming that I was going to do, except for the bushes, but all of the grass and the grounds and everything. And none of the dust seemed to bother me. I was out there blowing it off, and I forgot my mask. What happened? And but it didn't seem to make a hill of beans worth of difference. And I still just don't understand this. It just kind of goes and comes. Sometimes it's worse. Sometimes it's better. And as long as I can keep something to drink around, keep my throat lubricated a little bit, I'd be doing okay with it. As I say, I just live with it, I guess. I don't feel bad. It just is annoying. I guess it's worse at nighttime because sometimes when my throat clogs up, it wakes me up in the middle of the night, and I have trouble getting it cleared out. But that's usually the biggest problem that I really have with it, other than just the not knowing. And I'm slowly but surely working on the mitigation with dust mites, and I don't know, they say 6 months before you can tell a difference. So I guess I'm just kind of resigned to that. WDGU, K4HMB.
K4HMB, W2DGU. Well, you sound pretty good. And that's good to hear that, you're able to deal with it. And it's like Jamie has stomach issues that come and go. And I was out walking with Jamie today. My GP, who just did my blood test again, came back and said that, you're just basically, your blood work is fine. You have no problems with your blood work, and you have no immuno issues or anything. You're just the beginnings of arthritis in your back, and you're fairly active, and these are changes that happen. I keep on telling my wife that chemo aside, our bodies are changing all the time, and I suspect the rate of change is much greater than what it used to be at this stage of the game. But I also took your advice this morning. I wanted to cut some part of the grass, the side grass, to walk the dog, which was pretty high, which I didn't cut last week. And I don't know what your Kubota is, probably the same as my John Deere. I have 9 forward speeds and 3 reverse speeds. And I pushed cutting the grass down to gear 3, which is 1 being the lowest, and gear 3 didn't bounce me around very much, and took a lot longer, of course, but it was a much more comfortable ride than bouncing around the backfield in a much higher gear. So that's a question to you when Ginger went through, or when you even went through PT years ago. So I stopped taking any kind of other kind of muscle relaxants. None of that was doing anything for me, and I didn't want to go to any more stringent for my back. And I took the GP's advice, and are doing 2 Tylenol in the morning, 2 Tylenol in the afternoon, and 2 in the evening. And that has made a world of for my back. I don't know how long I can do that for, but it's definitely changed my back issue. Now, I've not worked outside in a couple of weeks or 10 days, and I haven't exercised either to stress my back. But I've called some PT places. They were booked, and some of them are big open environments with a table. And I was wondering, when you guys went for your PT, did you have like a private cube that you were able to get worked on, or did you have to be in a big open air environment with a whole bunch of people around you? Because that kind of gives me the creeps a little bit. K4HMB, W2DGU.
W2DGU from K4HMB. Well, I've been to a couple, and by the way, Tylenol is not only the ginger ale one take. I don't remember the last time for muscle relaxant or anything like that, or I don't think she had one. She may have, but she had the initial hip surgery, because she was pretty doped up there for herself. But for the most part, we pretty much stick with Tylenol. That's about it. Just basically as needed, so to speak. So, as far as the physical therapy goes, I've been to a couple of different places. One of them was strictly physical therapy. They did have, I want to say, 3 different rooms with doors that could be closed that had an exam table on it, and I guess that was for, when people were getting undressed, or when they were, doing an initial evaluation or something. At least that's the way I remember it. But the rest of the time was in an open area with the different machines and the tables and so on and so forth. But I don't ever remember there being probably never over about 5 people in this whole facility at any one time. Now, this was not a gym. This was just physical therapy. And I do recall one time that maybe there were 5 of us in there. And, there's, with this physical therapy, there's quite a bit of just laying around with an ice pack or a heat pad, something like that on. So you definitely get into some interesting conversations with some people when you're laying there doing that. But I don't really remember there being a real big open place. The other one that I went to, the other facility, they actually had a gym attached to it, but physical therapy happened in a separate large room. It wasn't huge, but certainly the gym was probably 3 times the size, but it was separated off. You weren't in the actual gym. But I did notice that some people, that they would send them out into the gym if they had to, do 20 minutes on a stepper or something like that. They would send them out to the gym to do that and then come back. But Melvis part, the ones that I can recall have been just semi-private, for lack of a better term. And I hope that makes sense. W2DGU, K4HMB.
K4HMB, W2DGU. Yeah, it's been a long time since I went to any type of PT, and I don't really want to sit in a gym setting. The places I've called were booked until next week, so we'll see. I made any appointments yet to deal with that and my back, but now that this report is finished and out, I'll have some time and we can go from there. But thanks for the information. I remember the last time I did this many years ago for my neck, there was a combination of, I guess, electrotherapy and cold packs and things like that. But I called that place and they were out of business, so I have to look for someplace else. Aside from that, what else is new down in your area? It's been kind of quiet up here. We just got our election ballots. New Jersey has a primary next Tuesday, so we got that stuff in the mail today. I did have my gardener girl come over. I think she's about finished, and I don't know. I don't recall if you have any brickwork in your back patio or anything. We have a fairly large brick semicircular patio in the back that we put in, I don't know, 25 years ago or more, I guess. And as time would have it, the grass grows between the bricks. And anyway, I keep on top of it with a weed whacker, which is pretty intense weed whacking against stone surfaces. But with all the rain and all, it's just been so intense. And this is the first time in all the years I've had our weeding person go out there and pull all the grass out between all the bricks, and it looks absolutely dynamite out there now. And we're supposed to be getting, the sky is getting darker and darker, and according to our weather forecast, we have some storms rolling in tonight, supposedly thunder and lightning. It says heavy rain for tomorrow night, and rain into Friday. And then next week it gets really hot again into the 90s. So somewhere between now and next week, I want to get out there and put turn the pump on and the waterfall, and get that going. If I can get my budding gear and get out there and do it without any other issues, because it'll be middle of June by the time I turn it on. For God, starting off the beginning of October, it's an awful lot of work for just a couple of months. But it looks pretty out there now without it even running. I'll send you some pictures as the water lilies come up and as the lotus starts going out there. And how you're doing for time with your voice and all, let me know. K4HMB, W2DGU.
W2DGU from K4HMB. I'm doing fine on time so far, and holding up surprisingly well. I would like to see the pictures of it when you get it finished. Yes, I do have some brickwork. It's not actually brick. Cement blocks, pavers, I think it is, which are not a whole lot bigger than. And so, I have the same problem with. I have more problem with moss than I do with weeds. Moss kind of chokes all the weeds out. And if it was just I would leave the moss. It would look really good on, to have all the little pavers separated by green moss. But it just really is not very consistent, so it doesn't look very good. So therefore, I occasionally have pressure wash mine, and that pretty much cleans all the moss off and cleans it at the same time. But I've got a little walkway at the side of the house and a larger walkway in front of the house, and it goes from the front steps to the driveway, and it's maybe 8 feet wide, I guess, and maybe 20 feet long, maybe, something like that. Not very big, but mine definitely grows, no matter, because I can remember being very stringent about being down the ground cloth and all of that. They put some kind of chemical underneath the ground cloth, and I don't know. Apparently, none of that stuff works really. So you have to kill it or pull it up or pressure wash it, one or the other. That's about the only way I know. One of the things that, and I don't know, it may be unique to our area here, I don't honestly know, but most of the prominent physical therapy places are located in the hospitals here. They are associated with, an orthopedic group, and but they're located in a hospital or near a hospital, and they're associated with that. Both the local hospital here, which is a very small place, but they have a PT section that gets used quite frequently. That's the first one I went to. And both the places where Ginger had her PT had the surgery, and both of those had their own physical therapy departments. and since then, she's been back to one of the hospitals one time when she was having some issues with her health. And apparently there's no problem with a doctor writing a prescription and for physical therapy, and she gets to pick the place where she goes. And as far as I know, all of those places accept the prescription and will do the physical therapy. But the majority of them here in the rural area, and I don't really know that about Asheville. I know Asheville has a couple of standalone places that are not associated, but most everything here is associated with a hospital. So for what it's worth, I'll pass that along. You might find a setting in a hospital more to your liking there as far as gym-related issues. So I don't know, it's maybe worth checking into if you've got anything like that around. W2DCU,
KFRH and BW2DCU, yeah. Our hospital complex in Morristown has a whole bunch of, facilities up and down the main street across from the hospital. And there is one of the buildings they own does have Atlantic Health PT in it. So that's one of the people I'm going to call. I left them a voicemail last week. I didn't back, so I'm going to try them again and see what they're like. There's a local place here in Chester, which I gotta research as well. Now that I got this other work off my desk, I can begin to concentrate on other meaningful activities. And speaking of phone calls and stuff, I might have sent you pictures. I mean, the patio off to one side is my deck. It isn't very big, but it's 22 feet long by 7 feet wide, where it's on the outside of Jamie's studio, and it's only about 2 feet off the ground. And then there's my deck outside my radio room here on the second floor, which is about, 9 feet by 40 inches or so. That big. And I've power washed it. I had intentions of painting it, and I thought, well, my back being what it is, maybe I'll try to get somebody to paint it. Well, called 4 people. One called back, came over here. I had sent him a scope of work, to be proactive. Sent him a scope of work, all kinds of pictures. And he shows up here, never looked at the scope of work, never looked at the pictures. I discussed with him what I wanted, a coat of oil and 2 coats of latex. I had the paint already Benjamin Moore purchased. I already power washed it. And I really wanted it scraped and painted a primer and then 2 coats of latex. And he looked at it and he said, $2,500, and and you supplied the paint set, and probably 3 to 4 weeks before we can even get to you. And I said, well, 3 or 4 weeks. I said, that's a long way out, and $2,500. So I said, that's a bit steep to paint something that's 22 feet long by 7 feet wide, and basically wood railing. And he left, and I started doing some calculations, thinking that he said he had one guy he can do. He's got 9 crews. He can have one guy come over, maybe, and probably take him 4 days. So I'm thinking to myself, he gets one guy to do it. Suppose he pays the guy $20 an hour. Provide the guy's legal that he has to begin with. Say he pays him $20 an hour. He works. Say it's 40 hours a week, so even if he works 4 days, say it's a full 80-hour week. 40-hour. That's what, $800. If he marks it up 100%, I only marked my labor up 40% in the old days, but if he marks it up 100%, that's what, $1,600. He gives the sales guy a $200 commission. That's $1,800. So $2,500 to me seemed quite steep. And I said to Jamie, if nobody else calls me back, I think you and I will go out there and scrape it ourselves. And we'll just go out there when it's cool in the morning and paint it ourselves. It seems kind of silly to give somebody $25 to paint something that's already cleaned. and we're giving them the paint already. So that was our latest escapade here, trying to get people to help us do work here. A guy told me that he says, do you know what's going on in New Jersey? He says, it's crazy. You can't buy building materials. You can't find a contractor. He said, business is really good. Go figure. So, K4HMB, W2DGU.
W2DGU, K4HMB. Yeah, those numbers just don't quite work. Sorry. But, yeah, I'm going through the same thing here. I mean, you couldn't hire a contractor if your life depended on it there right now. And with the cost of lumber here, nobody wants to do anything. I think lumber prices, I think I saw on a report on news where they said they'd gone up 200% in the last year, or last year and a half, maybe it was. So, yeah, it's just pretty incredible. You can't buy a lawnmower, you can't buy a car. So there's a huge bunch of shortages right now. But I basically did the same thing you did. I got, my lawnmower was dying on me. So I decided, well, I can either invest a lot of money in a nice riding lawnmower, or I can hire somebody. Looking at the price differential there, it seemed like a no-brainer just to hire somebody to cut my grass once a week, or once every 2 weeks. So I called a guy who had been out here before and did some weed eating on the driveway for me. And he came out and he looked at it, and I told him what I wanted to do. I wanted, spring cleanup and bushes come back and so on, and I wanted an ongoing thing of the grass being cut. So he gave me prices on it, and he said, it's going to rain first of the week. He said it's probably going to be the end of the week before I can get to you. Haven't seen hide or anything. That was 5 weeks ago. He won't return my calls. Nothing. So I told Ginger I'd just, I can't buy a riding lawnmower. I can't buy a decent riding lawnmower. You can buy the cheap stuff that's out there. There's a lot of that still available. But any of the really good stuff is almost impossible to come by. And I told her we were going to have to let it grow. I didn't know what else we were going to do. Either that or I'm going to have to buy parts and fix my lawnmower that I've got. And, but yeah, it's tough to find anybody to do anything. So, that was 5 ago. And, of course, I still haven't heard anything. But like last week, I got a couple other names, and I called them, and one of them said he just had much work that he couldn't take on anymore. At least he was honest about it anyway. And of course, the other one never called me back. So that's just kind of it is. And just for peace of mind and not having to worry about it, you're probably better off just making the decision that you're going to do it yourself and just do it whenever you can. And it's a lot less hassle that way. W2DGU, K4HMB.
K4HMB, W2DGU. Yeah, well, that's interesting that the price of lumber is. I'm glad I put my addition on my garage. I did. I can't believe that's pretty wild. Nobody around here cuts their grass, and nobody around here has a tractor like mine. It's kind of interesting that they just huge business around here of guys with these trailers and all kinds of guys that go out and cut their grass. And my neighbor across the street, he has the most perfect lawn I've ever seen. It's just beautiful. But the guy who cuts his grass there every week now, and he's got one side of his house where they insist on cutting the grass real short. And by the time July comes around, it's all brown. The whole side of his house is brown. Because they're cutting the grass too short. And I had a guy here when I was working in London 20 years ago or so. I hired somebody to do it and to cut my grass. And he insisted on cutting it short, and I said, I don't want my grass cut short. I want it enough that I can breathe in the summertime and not get burned. And he said, well, if I don't cut it short, it's going to clog up my tractor. I said, well, I don't really care about your tractor. Okay. So that was the end of his relationship. But they cut it short. It grows. In July, they're still cutting it. It's brown. I don't know. I don't. And of course, I don't know if you have it by you, but we have a huge business up here. People using ChemLawn and True Green and all these kind of things, and they dump all this nitrogen into the soil, and then it runs down the roads in back of us into the culvert, into our big pond out back, and then we have these huge algae blooms. My new neighbor next door has been really vigilant and keep on top of the pond, because most of it's on his property. And he's gone through a lot of trouble to try to fight the algae problem, but the culvert still dumps all that rainwater. The property is all in back of us on that cul-de-sac, and that acreage comes down the hill and into the pond, and we have with algae blooms. So this whole grass business is just quite amazing to me that didn't exist when I was a kid. I don't remember it existing when I was a kid. Certainly my father, in our little lot in Newark, there was no such thing as having somebody cut your grass. But here, very, very, very rarely do you see somebody cutting their own grass. KFRH and BW2DCU.
Yeah, well, that was my feeling, except I was basically getting tired of cutting it and wanting somebody else to do it. But, yeah, it's almost impossible to find. And by the way, since I couldn't remember that lumber thing exactly, I looked it up on the web, which you can do. You can look up the price of lumber. And it says that no prices per 1,000 board feet of lumber increased nearly 250% from April 2020 to April 2021, 1 year. And that's according to an analysis by the National Association of Home Builders. In May, the price for 1,000 board feet hit an all-time high of $15. So, yeah, not a great time to build. And I think I'm going to get out of here and go contemplate my cut grass outside. W2DGU, K4HMB.
Hey, Joe, sounds cool. K4HMB, W2DGU. Well, thank you for informing me about this. I have one little section left in the back of my house to get changed over from the siding we have to hardy plank, and I have no idea what the increase of hardy plank has been. I was hoping to do that in the fall, but once I get there, I got to get somebody to paint it. So I don't know. My realtor who sold the 2 condos told me that she expects a market crash sometime next year, so maybe that's the time to start doing stuff. Good luck on your grass. I didn't mean to say that you shouldn't hire somebody to cut your grass. I mean, the guys around here are 20 years younger, or much more younger than I am, and they still don't cut their grass. You have a good night, and I'll chat with you during the week sometime, or over the weekend. I don't know if there's I didn't see contests coming up, but I'll drop you a note and see what's going on. Take care of yourself, and thanks for QSO, K4H and BW2DCU.
Rich, I think there is one, not this weekend, but I think the following weekend. I think there's a German contest of some kind. I can't remember exactly what it is, but on the 12th and the 13th, I think. That was a fairly good size one, as I recall, and that's coming up. But anyway, yes, if I could possibly find somebody to cut my grass, I would. I just can't seem to locate anybody that wants to do it, or wants to work, or wants to do anything with it. I mean, I can't even get a price, much less, bargaining with somebody. And so, yeah, I'm just forced to do it, and it's certainly not by choice. But anyway, You have a good week, and we will be gone on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Ginger has a doctor's in Nashville, so we're going to Nashville tomorrow, and that'll probably take most of the day. But other than that, we'll mostly be around for a while. But yeah, we're expecting some wet weather here too, so we're not going to get as much done outside. Fortunately, I'm almost through with that. Anyway, best to Jamie, and I'll talk to you later. W2DGU, K4HMB.
Okay, Joe. Thanks. If I get the pond running, I'll send you a pic because the purple flags are in bloom in there now, and the water lily are just so profuse. It seems that the more I neglect the pond, the better it looks. So maybe there's a lesson there. You have a good night, and good luck in your drive tomorrow. I was going to make another comment on grass cutting, but we'll save it for another day. Take care of yourself. Again, congrats on the radio, and I'm going to study more about it as well. K4HMBW2DCU, Chester, New Jersey. Good night, 73.
73, Rich, K4HMB clear.
Do a heck of a lot less than the new one does. The new car today, I had to look up her Mercedes to change the battery in the key. I had to look up how to get at the battery in the key. So I'm looking through the owner's manual, and that car, I need to study for a year or two, or maybe take a couple of college courses to learn how to use everything in it. It's like a big computer going down the road.
That's another reason why I won't buy a new car.
Well, I'll tell you, this car will steer for you. It will park itself. It has a forward mirror of radar and rear radar for when you get close to something. And in the speed control, not only is it a speed control, but when you set the speed control, if there's somebody else ahead of you going forward, it will slow down to their speed. When they pick up speed again, it'll follow them. So once you set the speed control, you don't have to worry about it. It'll follow. You don't have to touch the gas anymore. That's just a few of the things. But then it'll not be around when this stuff starts to break.
All these games will break.
Oh boy. Well, X5, that's the English car, right?
The BMW.
Oh, the X. Oh. So don't tell anybody. Well, I know, but don't ever talk about it. It's a German car, please. Polo. I've heard that, yeah. Well, I'm trying to place the X5 and I can't see it.
Well, we have the X2, X3, X5, the BMW.
Oh, okay. That's right. I don't look at SUVs. That's right. I don't know SUVs. I don't know any of them, except one of them that I like the look of because it's a lot smaller, and that's the Mercedes GLA SUV. That's a nice looking car. It's not a very big car. It's a good looking car.
Just as long as they're not shaped like a BMW.
Yeah.
Any rigs that I have here, I haven't updated it with the SDR radio, and I also don't have many other rigs that I didn't take pictures of. But this gives you an idea of what I kind of like to play with here. Yeah, I know what you mean about people who are recycling new rigs every year. It's really amazing. I was licensed in 1964, and the first new rig I bought was a